Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the jerk off who picked a 50-year-old man with a dozen knockout losses to win a fight in 2024. And it's actually this fight right here. I'm picking Arlovski to beat Martin Buday. And I may have taken some liberties with his age. He's like 45, but he's closer to 50 than he is to 40. So there's that. But look, I am picking Arlovski. I can't believe I'm fucking saying these words out loud. I just think he's going to have a speed and athleticism advantage over Martin Buday. And while it's no lock that he's going to win, he is my pick, which means if he put a gun to my head and said, "You die if you get this wrong," I'd go, "Okay, Arlovski by decision." And I'd probably be dead because he's going to get knocked out now. I would say if anybody's getting knocked out, it is Arlovski. He does have a dozen knockout losses. That combined with the fact that he's 50 years old, it would lead me to believe that he's going to get knocked out if anybody does. But I do think he's turned into a much wiser fighter. In general, he's protected himself. He's been roughed up a few times, but the knockout losses do come few and far between. You know, one or two in the last 5 years, two. And uh, what's his name? Marcos Rogerio de Lima had him badly hurt and whatever else. But Arlovski is a guy that does have those same advantages that he had in his 20s over a lot of other heavyweights. He is incredibly fast and athletic, and his striking is very good as well. He's good at he'll throw some sloppy shit every now and then, some back fists and whatever, but he keeps himself safe and throws efficient strikes. And Martin Buday, even though he's younger and healthier and whatever the fuck else, and bigger, he's definitely one of the more slower, plodding zombie types of fighters, maybe a better version of Josh Parisian, like I said before they fought. But still, he's in that realm. And I do think Arlovski, despite all of his disadvantages, he does carry those same advantages of the speed and athleticism. Now, they don't always work out for him. I mean, he's had his share of losses against lower end heavyweights and definitely should have lost that fight to Jake Collier, who Martin Buday beat pretty comfortably. But I still think Andrei Arlovski is going to make this, at the very least, very close. Unless, of course, he gets knocked out. Again, if anybody's getting knocked out, it's Andrei Arlovski. And it's a combination of everything going against him, age-wise and health-wise, and his opponent being a young, healthy heavyweight. But still, I'm picking Arlovski to win. I don't think he's going to do it in the way Shamil Gaziev did. Shamil Gaziev is one of the two guys that beat Buday, and he largely steamrolled him, bullied him around for round one, really hurt him, and then put him away early in round two. And then his other loss I haven't seen, that was back in 2017 to Juan Espino. Juan Espino is a beast of a wrestler, one of the biggest question marks in MMA history. And without having seen the fight, I can imagine what it looked like. And Juan was ripping him to the mat. And that's not a path to victory for Arlovski either. The path to victory for him is the Lucas Dreschke fight. Dreschke lost a split decision to Buday, but I thought it should have went the other way. And I think Andrei Arlovski can duplicate a lot of the success that Dreschke had just by being the more mobile heavyweight and agile heavyweight, darting in and out. And that's the basis for the pick. As for Arlovski, I've seen every one of his fights in the UFC and probably out of the UFC, even that first knockout loss to the crazy guy to begin his career. I know him like the back of my hand, and that's why, despite my trepidation from all of his losses and concussions and whatever, I still have respect for his skill set. I think he's a formidable opponent for any of the bottom third of the UFC heavyweights, and I think this is one of them in Martin Buday. Even if he's king of the slow plotting zombies, he's still in that realm. And Arlovski, assuming his chin holds up, I know he'll be scoring points with his athleticism and his movement. So Arlovski by decision is the pick. I bet on him, but it's a small bet, and I'm going to wait for the props because these days, if he does win, I'm very sure it's by decision. Whereas 15 years ago, 20 years ago, it was almost a lock. It was by knockout. But he's learned, and he's learned to protect himself, by really just having his back put against the wall from having so many knockouts. And he's a different fighter, and that's his path to victory now, and that's what I'll be looking to play. And for Buday, I'd still say a decision is more likely than a knockout if Buday was to win. And, just generally how it goes with Arlovski, he does keep himself safe, and it's not like he's the most dominant guy, making the most of his speed and athleticism. He's had a lot of close fights, and even with some of these slower, plodding zombie types. But I still think Buday has a good chance of getting a knockout if he does win, because he's big, strong, hits hard, and Andrei Arlovski's been knocked out a dozen times. So wouldn't surprise me. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit, and check out my other videos.